Welcome everyone. MTL Sports Podcast. We're on the big episode 100. We made it 100 episodes. It's been a good journey. We still got a lot more to go. Thank you guys for tuning in for 100 episodes. Hope you tune in for 100 more. On today's episode, it's going to be on the short side. We're still going on with our ongoing series, the NBA seasons review and off-season previews. Today we got the Heatles, we get the Lake Show, and we get the Philadelphia 76ers. Three teams who probably by their standards had disappointing seasons. So we'll dive into that. And then we might sprinkle in a little bit of rapid fire. But with all that being said, guys, let's kick off episode 100. Episode 100, NBA season reviews and off-season previews. Lawrence, like I said in the opener, we got three teams who, let me know if you agree with me, probably had disappointing seasons by their standards, wouldn't you say?
I could agree with that statement.
All right, so we'll start off with the Heatles. I believe they have the 15th pick. We're gonna skip over the Blazers. I think they had the 14th pick. We already did them. Don't need to say any more about them. Let's move on to my Heatles. 46-36. I think we finished, eighth in the East. Played the Celtics in the first round. Got gentlemen swept. Not much to say about this team other than I would say it's a failure because we just, the past offseason didn't really add much. It was basically just Thomas Robinson and that was pretty much it. And then coming into this season, we made some moves, at the trade deadline. We got Scary Terry, great addition to the team. Jaime Jaquez Jr. Came in third for Rookie of the Year voting, so great surprise there. He's started to contribute early, but definitely not the best season. Miami had championship aspirations. They just went to the finals last year, so to lose in the first round is not where you want to be. So I guess I'll kick this one off first. The grade is definitely a C. It would be a D, honestly, but I think the Scary Terry trade kind of saved the season for a little bit. At least the grading is concerned because going into the season, we still had Kyle Lowry, older, and just didn't live up to the same expectations as before. Kyle Lowry back, even the first year with Miami, he was pretty effective, but now just didn't play well. Kept switching between starting and coming off the bench and playing some pretty much starting minutes at times. So the fact that they were able to dump that contract and get a guy like a Scary Terry is it's a step in the right direction, I feel like. But when we take a look at the free agents, we got Caleb Martin, player option. It's definitely going to decline that because he's due a big payday. Probably not by us, but by somebody. Thomas Bryant, that experiment didn't work out, so he's probably gone. K Love is probably back. And then we got some other guys, DeLon Wright, Patty Mills, Jay Rich, Hayward Highsmith, Jamal Cain, some of these other two-way guys at the bottom of the list. But I think the biggest thing is we got a cheap owner, y'all. It's pretty well known. Even though he does pay a luxury tax occasionally, I think this is one of the years where he wants to avoid it. So they're going to shed some salary. Probably the main reason why Caleb Martin walks when, honestly, probably should have traded him at the trade deadline as well. We're going to lose him for nothing, most likely. So it's going to be tougher, old man Pat, to kind of reconfigure the roster. I do think we have 3 tradable first-round picks at draft night if you include the 15th pick. So we'll see. I know the rumors about Jimmy Butler potentially, wanting out if he doesn't get his extension. I would probably, slow your roll about that. Don't believe those too much. Jimmy has said many a times he wants to stay in Miami. It's probably his last stop on his journey. So probably won't listen to those too much, but definitely I think the biggest thing, if we're able to, is get a consistent second scorer, someone who can shoot from the outside and can consistently get you about 25 to 27 a game. I think scoring's been the biggest problem for us for the past 3-4 years, and you can't count on Jimmy to. Let's be honest, can't count on Jimmy to give you 25 a night anymore as you're getting older. It's just not possible. And Tyler Hero, even though he's starting, pretty much is giving you the same numbers as when he was coming off the bench as the sixth man of the year. So, in my eyes, Tyler is not the answer. I know a lot of people like Tyler. I like him too, but Tyler's just not the answer. Now, he can stay on the team. You can potentially, pair him along with another, high scorer, whether, they can aggregate salaries elsewhere, maybe Duncan Robinson and a few others. But I would say Tyler Hero is probably the trade piece that gets moved this season. It's going to suck seeing him go, but if they want to make the next step and really compete and not have, as some people say, fluke seasons, then they got to go get a guy like a Donovan Mitchell or a Paul George or, someone who's consistently can give you 25 a night. Lawrence, how would you grade the Heat season, and what do you think they need to do to get back to the finals?
It probably was a little bit of a rough season for the Heat. I don't think there was anything in particular. I don't think there was anything that they did wrong. It just kind of went in a favor that wasn't in theirs, or they didn't draw the right cards, I guess you could say, due to the injuries. But you also have to remember, like, they constantly get hurt. So I mean, this is a thing that we've seen time and time again. I guess that one year was, I guess you could call it a fluke season because they didn't get hurt, but that's more so of what the team should be doing. That's how it should be. But personally, I don't know. However, I will say that I don't think there's a whole lot the Heat have to do to get back to where they just were. I just think, I guess what's the best way to put it? I guess the best thing that he had to do is figure out how they're going to play. And I guess kind of like build around your bench and build around depth. I think you're completely right with Hero not being the answer. I kind of always thought that. But maybe if you put him back on the bench and brought someone else in that role and he scores the same amount of points, there's no difference. But that's for them to figure out what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, it's tough, and Scary Terry can kind of be that guy. He can, even though he was on a bad team, the Hornets, he was giving guys a work. I mean, Scary Terry had his best year by far. So, Scary Terry can definitely fill that void of that 20-point score. But we don't need like four of them. Scary Terry, Hero, Jimmy, and Bam. Yeah. We don't need four. All right, so that's where Pat's gonna have to do some creative, executive work. I would definitely say, Hero's probably the main trade piece. I would say Rozier is probably going to be flipped as well if it comes down to it. I know he loves Miami and he's always wanted to be in Miami, but I think this is the season where, Pat might just cash in all the chips because, the East, it's the Celtics and no one else, so it's prime for the taking. So if you just make a move here and there, you definitely can be at the top. And all you got to worry about is the Celtics, let's be honest. The Knicks, Julius Randle, he was hurt. And, even when he wasn't hurt, it was tough to kind of, that synergy between him and Brunson. And now they got, the Villanova boys, they all having synergy. So it's tough to see where his spot is, his place is going to be back next season. And then the Sixers, they got a lot of cap space. But, what are they going to do with it? Are they going to be able to find that third person to kind of help out Maxey and Embiid? How's that going to look? So, the East is definitely for the taking. I would say probably the second, not issue, but just like the thing that the Heat should address is probably center. I think this is probably the year, and even UD said it. Bam is better as a power forward. So if they can get a starting caliber center who can kind of stretch the floor, We kind of
More
said it.
so, yeah.
Kind of said it yesterday, last episode with Sacramento. The same thing. How Sabonis can't really be your center. You need a actual center who can just step out and maybe make 2 threes a game. Like that's all you need. And I think this applies here with Miami. Don't you think?
I agree, and even if you didn't do that one, I think just a rebounder, a solid rebounder, allow Bam to play a little bit more of the defense on that side, and then not stress rebounds, and you just have a guy who just goes straight in for rebounds. That could be effective. That could be a strat to go for. Because in my opinion, I think that would work out well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot is being asked of Bam. He's all NBA defender. He's giving you 20 and 10. I think he's getting kind of stretched thin. He's even a playmaker at times. He can get trip dubs too. So he's just getting stretched in all kind of directions. If you just had a guy to help him out on the glass and can relieve some of that pressure and can kind of help him out on defense, that would work. That would work wonders, honestly. And then secondly, backup, and thirdly, I probably should say backup point guard. They've been kind of running through guys in terms of just throwing guys in that backup point guard role, and it just hasn't clicked for anybody. So maybe if it's through the draft or through free agency, if they can get someone for the cheap and kind of run the second unit, if Tyler Hero is not willing to go back to the bench, go find a guy like Tyus Jones would be nice, but he's probably going to get paid by somebody. So maybe someone of that caliber would be nice as your backup point guard, but we'll have to see come free agency what type of guy like that is going to be available. So I think that's probably the third thing the Heat should look at this offseason. That's all for the Heatles for right now. Let's move on to the Sixers. I think they're up next in terms of draft order. Yep, they are. So let's go to the Sixers. Like I said earlier, about $60 million in cap space because Tobias is coming off the books. They have to re-sign Tyrese Maxey. He's restricted. There's already reports that he's going to get the max. So what are you going to do with the other $30 to $40 million in cap space? It's a lot of options for them. Lawrence, what would you grade their season first off? And second off, who is that guy that they go for and try to get with the leftover cap space?
I mean, what are you going to do with the leftover cap space? Your biggest thing is you needed him like a third playmaker. Like Tobias Harris, you paid him to do that. He was not it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the team just needs, I don't know, like a DeJounte Murray would be kind of nice. That way Maxey can play, like an actual shooting guard kind of a role.
Okay.
But then you might be a little bit like small.
Yeah.
That might come into an issue, but you kind of already have Embiid, so you do need to go a little smaller and then maybe find a mediocre ground in terms of like power forwards and, to keep it stretched. But there's a lot of things you have to do with this team, and it's one of those things where it's not a quick turnaround for the 76ers. There actually has to be like kind of a lot of work, in my opinion. It's a good regular season team, but it falls apart pretty much every year in the postseason. So,
yeah, and I would say that part of that's due to coaching in the past, not so much this season, but coaching in the past, and then I would say Embiid is usually hurt, so that contributes, and then also Embiid. He doesn't really close series. He hasn't been to even the Eastern Conference Finals yet. So, maybe some maturing on his end would work wonders for his team come playoffs. I'm going to grade them a B. I like the leap from Maxey, most improved player. Coming off last year where he had to share the limelight with Harden. And, this year, really taking that next step and being the bona fide second star. As sometimes he looked like the best player on Philly. So shout out to him. They definitely need to re-sign him at all costs. I mean, he's restricted. They're going to match anything. But regardless, he needs to be the second guy. And then the hard part, like you said, getting that third guy to come in and be that third scorer / playmaker / defender. Because, their roster is kind of old, so they do need some more defense along with the scoring. Paul George has been linked to Philly. Who knows if he's really going to entertain that? I have a feeling that the Clippers are probably just going to pay him. Probably not what he wants, but he loves LA.
Only what he gets.
Yeah, he loves LA. He's from LA. He always wanted to go there. That was his big gripe. So I don't really see him leaving. So that just leaves you with guys like Pascal Siakam, who's probably going to stay in Indy. OG is probably going to stay in New York. So then we're looking at like second tier guys like a Klay Thompson, DeMar DeRozan, who probably wouldn't be a bad option in Philly, but he's getting kind of older, so I don't know if that really fits their timeline. Malik Monk's another option. I don't know if Malik Monk, you can consistently count on him to give you 20. That's probably not what I would go for, and then you still be small. I would probably look for a wing guy. So if Paul George doesn't come their way, then Klay Thompson's probably the best bet unless they go and trade for a guy. They got first or 5 tradable first. Do they go get a Donovan Mitchell with all those firsts? That's possible. The Cavs could rebuild their draft stock by doing that trade. So things like that is probably what I would be on the lookout for if I was Philly. Other than that, I mean, I feel like they just got to keep their roster intact. You traded for Buddy Hield. You probably want to re-sign him. Who else do they have now? Cameron Payne, he played big minutes. Probably re-sign him. DeAnthony Melton, same with him. He can, step right in and give you some good minutes. Paul Reed was a good backup center. He's a little undersized, but
he's pretty effective.
Kelly Oubre Jr. This is an interesting one because if he comes back, he's probably gonna want a slight raise, and I think he made about $13 million per year. Lawrence, if you were Philly, would you bring back Kelly Oubre for that amount of money? You're probably gonna be in a super luxury tax if you do that.
I wouldn't personally, only because Kelly Oubre hasn't really won on any team he's gone to. And so if you're asking for more money and every team you go to, your team doesn't typically pan out well each season, then maybe I don't want you. Especially if I have to pay you more. If I'd pay you the same and we'd run it back with some new pieces, and maybe, but if I'm paying you more and then getting the same, then
yeah. Personally, maybe if it came down to it and all the other free agents dried up, you probably do re-sign him, but I wouldn't. He's not my first choice of all the guys I mentioned before to get that re-sign contract. So we'll see what they do with that. I think it's been reported that he has interest in re-signing, but I imagine he's probably want a little bit more money. I think that's pretty much all there is to Philly. Just look out for that third star. They can help, Embiid and Maxey in the starting unit. Who's that going to be? We have yet to find out.
No, does Tobias Harris end up in China?
He's not going to play for the Shanghai, Seahorses or whatever, the Shanghai Sharks anytime soon. I think Tobias, honestly, is probably going to get paid again. Don't you think? Because at times he looked good. I think he's going to get paid somewhere. Probably not a max, but Tobias he's probably getting $15 million next year from somebody.
I don't know. Some games he was just too non-existent to be paying someone who I'm expecting something from and then getting nothing for.
I can see him maybe going to Spurs. Maybe I feel like that's a place. He's a good system player, so I feel like Tobias will end up in a place that has a system already. So, the Spurs or even the Rockets. I don't know. Rockets always, they look like they're always about signing vets with, Ime Udoka taking over. So maybe he goes there. Next up, though, we got the Lake Show. They're in a bit of a fiasco right now. If you guys don't know from the billion of alerts that you get on your phone, they are still searching for head coach Dan Hurley, the two-time back-to-back NCAA men's basketball winning coach. turned down the Lakers 6 year. I think it was $70 million, right, Lawrence? To come play, to not play, but to coach LeBron, AD, and the rest of the Lakers.
He didn't want to go
Um,
there because LeBron's going to be the coach. He don't want to go do that. He has a good thing going.
he does have a good thing going. And secondly, they kind of lowballed him, if you think about it, because he's about to be the highest paid college coach, and I think the guy from Kansas is getting like $10 million. So in a matter of like probably another year or two, he's going to be getting like 11, 12, and the Lakers offered him an average of 11.6. That's kind of a low ball from if you can just go get that in college just a year or two later. So that's kind of on them for being cheap and not really being serious about their offer. But Lawrence, I'll give it to you again. Great the Lake Show's season, and they got a bunch of stuff they got to fix. So how do they go about fixing?
I mean, how do you go about fixing? Maybe go a little younger. I mean, that's my biggest take is go younger, get a younger crowd, get a younger group.
Yeah.
I think their biggest problem is it's a bunch of oldies trying to have fun on that team. And the youngins that they bring in, I'm talking really old right now, but I'm not. And the young guys they bring in they're just not like they don't play game to game like I need them to for my veterans. I guess that's the way to put it. Like Austin Reeves, he's fine. He gives you like, I don't know, 12 to 20 every night. That's fine. That's kind of what I expect. But for like D'Angelo Russell, okay, during the regular season you have some good games, and then as soon as the playoffs come, you're gone. So not helpful. And honestly, you can find a same level but less money of D'Angelo Russell. So there's no point in keeping that around. Next is like LeBron. Okay, if he comes back, in which he will, in my opinion, you can't get even though he's good, even though he's LeBron, you can't pay LeBron with so much money. You got to tell LeBron like go do 2 more commercials, go do another movie, get your money somewhere else so we can put teams on this, put some dudes on this team to help you win another. Because if I have to pay you a bunch of money, you ain't gonna win another. Just it is what it is. You're not going to get another one if we have to pay you a bunch of money. It's just not going to happen. So someone's going to have to tell LeBron that. And honestly, you can come in there and you can give him 2 good commercials to do. Like you already have it pre-set up. He likes the brand or whatever. That's the way to attack it. Next, let everything walk. I think the biggest thing you learn this offseason or going into the offseason that is the team didn't have like a closing. It wasn't good at closing. You saw that from the Nuggets series. They couldn't close a game. So obviously this team can't close. So whoever is available to lose and cut the fat of, let it happen. The team wasn't good enough to win. It proved that in the playoffs. Let's get ways to win. If that means bringing in a bunch of new guys, that might be the best thing. Like it's kind of like a change of scenery. The vets that you have on the team will get new guys to try to win something with, and you can figure out the move from there.
All right, fair enough. Can't disagree with pretty much anything you said. As far as grades, I give them a B. I think record-wise, they finished better than last year. They actually won a game against the Nuggets in the playoffs, so I guess that's a step somewhat in the right direction. But being a playoff or play-in team for the second consecutive year, it's not a spot that the Lakers should be in, especially with the talent that they had. Right, they had a pretty good squad. Last year they went all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Some people might argue it's because of the path that they had in front of them. They can't really pick their opponents, so they did the best that they could with what they were thrown in front of. So that's that. But this year, at times it looked like it gelled, but then other times, whether AD was out, LeBron was out, the team it just didn't look good, and especially with some of these lineups that Darvin Ham, had out there. I don't know what he was thinking. Some of those lineups just didn't click. Yeah, it sucks that he's gone, but it's probably for the better. Darvin Ham, my biggest gripe and a lot of people's biggest gripes is lineups, and I feel like, that's what ultimately cost him his job. Yeah, he's a first time head coach, and he didn't have much to work with. But once you lose the locker room, you got to go. They weren't going to follow his lead anymore after losing to the Nuggets again. So I'm gonna echo what Lawrence said. Whoever can walk, let him walk. D-Love's probably going to decline his player option. Reports are that he can probably get at least the same amount of money, if not a little bit more, on a longer term deal. So he'll probably go out and search for that. Will it be with the Lakers? Probably not. We've seen back-to-back years of, the production not being there in the playoffs, although he's playing pretty decently in the regular season. Max Christie, you probably just keep him around because it's cheap. Spencer Dinwiddie, a.k.a. Spencer Dinplum, we're going to cut him. I don't know why you sign a guy off of the waiver wire who is on the waiver wire a lot, getting traded, going this place, going that place. Why is he playing more minutes than Gabe Vincent in the playoffs when he was just in the finals against the very same team the previous season? Didn't make much sense. And Gabe Vincent, at times, I wouldn't say at times, for the most part, was playing better than him. So that didn't make sense. Jackson Hayes, that experiment didn't work. Let him go. Cam Reddish is probably the only guy. Cam and probably Torian Prince, the only two guys I'm looking to bring back if the money's right. Christian Wood didn't work out. And then some of these other guys are just two-way players, so not too worried about them. And, the Lakers, they're kind of in a little rut in terms of money. With the cap situation, it's not looking too good. You can read right here. But I think they do have 3 tradable first round picks, including the one this year. So pick 17. We'll see if they're able to make any type of moves with the picks. Will it be go get Donovan Mitchell? Will it go be get DeJounte Murray or Trae Young? That I don't know. Lawrence, who do you think any of those names make sense for the Lakers to use the rest of their draft capital to go get?
I don't know. I don't. If I'm the Lakers, I don't even know who I want on the team. And if I'm the Lakers as well, it doesn't matter who I want on the team. It's more like who LeBron wants on the team. And that basically is just who's LeBron going to want to play with. And it's probably going to be a veteran that he's going to want to bring in. He's probably going to want some vets. He's not going to want some young guys. And are we going to go for Bronny? Are we going to go get his son so they can have like the dream send off? Reports are that his son isn't even that good and prepared, I guess, NBA ready. I think that's kind of a hard thing to. I want to say persuade. I mean, he did go to USC and didn't play very well, but in my opinion, he wasn't really. I don't know why he picked that school. It was a really stupid choice. The way they're built and the way they play really tall. Like the shortest guy on their starting roster was like 6'4", 6'5", and they want to play big and tall and lanky, and he didn't fit the description. Why he went there? Maybe probably to be around his dad, I guess. Beats me.
Yeah, he's pretty short. I think he's like only 6'1" or 6'2", so kind of puzzling too. Probably just want to stay in LA, close to his parents or whatever, But they probably will have a shot to draft Bronny. They have picked 55 in the second round. They already said that they're not going to take him in the first round, so we'll see if he falls to them in the second round. It'll be interesting to see. But out of the guys I mentioned, Lawrence, I feel like the only one that probably can make a difference is Donovan Mitchell. But do you really want to give up your last 3 picks to do that? And, he still has to sign a long-term contract, so you have to, convince him that, him and Anthony Davis would be enough once LeBron leaves in a year or two.
I mean, you basically commit to him when you do that, though. You're basically telling him, hey, this is your team with Anthony Davis once LeBron's gone. Like, this is you and him. And it's all you guys.
Yeah, so he's going to have to, if it comes down to that, he's going to have to figure out if that's good, or is he going to have to, decide that, hey, maybe I stick in the East, with less with the Cavs, or maybe another team like the Knicks. Other names,
personally,
though,
I think if I'm him, I'm staying in the East just because I know how much easier it is.
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's probably what I would do as well. Other names thrown out there: Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, who they tried to go after last season. Maybe they steal Paul George from the Clippers. I'm not too sure if Steve Ballmer would do business with Jeannie Buss, the rival. Steve Ballmer's trying to fill season is new. I think his arena opens up next season, so he's probably going to want the two stars to be there for that. So I doubt that's going to happen. So we'll see. I know we talked about Portland. We said, hey, maybe Anthony Simons needs to go somewhere instead of wasting his time in Portland. Maybe the Lakers trade a first round or two for him. I don't know if that would work, but maybe he'll play better playing with better caliber players like LeBron and AD. Maybe that's the option. I'm not too sure, but they definitely need a third person because Austin Reeves is good. Now, is Austin Reeves good enough to be that third star? I don't think so. Lawrence, do you think so? I mean, it's tough to say, but I think
he's
probably
not. He's not a third star.
Yeah,
he's just your solid role guy every night.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it amounts to. Now he could, fool us all and maybe be an all-star, next season, but I would say the chances are it's probably not just a really solid role guy who has some spurts of all-star caliber play. But the Lakers, they got a lot to do, a lot to fix. Starting with a head coach, they got to get that down sooner rather than later. I think the draft is in 2 weeks, so they need to hurry up on that. JJ Redick's been reported, along with like Kenny Atkinson and I forgot how to pronounce the guy's name. I think his name's like Borrega or something like that. But yeah, I think that's how I pronounce the guy's name. But they're kind of the candidates that the Lakers are looking at. But I think that's it for the Lakers, and I think that's it for the offseason preview or previews and season reviews. Lawrence, anything you want to go over before we head on out?
USA looks pretty good against Brazil, but the second half just kicked off, and down to watch that one. It's gonna be fun. It is what it is. In terms of things to talk about, I guess we could talk about a little bit of hockey. The Florida Panthers look really good against Edmonton. I mean, game one, Edmonton looked like the better team, and Florida won 2-0. And then the last game, Florida absolutely looked way better than Edmonton. I guess Edmonton gets a chance to pull it back like the Mavs do tonight. Unfortunately, you go down 2-0 in the opponent's arena. Game 3 has to be really important. Probably look for McDavid to finally get a goal. Especially if they want to come back, he's gonna have to get really involved because he hasn't looked too amazing so far this postseason, or not postseason, sorry, Stanley Cup. But I think also again for like the Mavs, like it's pretty much win or go home.
Yeah.
ESPN has a boost out there, or not a boost, but you put $10 on a bet. If you lose, you get your $10 back. For a first basketball scorer, I went ahead and took Luka to be a little safer. He's plus 500. I think Luka is also going to be the one to get it going for the team tonight. I'm in another parlay. PJ Washington to get 2 plus 3s. What is it? Kyrie to get 25. Jaylen Brown to get 20. And the Mavs to win. So hopefully we can see a Mavs comeback start.
Yeah, I think, like I said, do or die. Game 3 is a must-win for the Mavs. No Porzingis after his weird injury. I don't even know how you pronounce the muscle or ligament that he tore, but tore something in his ankle, right? So he's not. He tried to warm up, but they ruled him out around 6. We're recording around 8, so not playing Game 3. Probably won't play the rest of the series. I think they're just kind of leaving it out as day to day to give the Mavs a little bit of fear and give the Celtics a little bit of hope. Because without Porzingis, this is going to be very interesting. And yeah, Kyrie's probably going to bounce back tonight. So your parlay, I feel like, has a very good chance to hit. But the line didn't move too much, even with Porzingis being ruled out. Their Mavs are already a 2.5-point favorite, and with him being ruled out, they only went to 3.5. So
yeah,
Vegas,
there's not a whole bunch of confidence in it.
Yeah, so do or die for Mavs. We'll see if they pull through. There is a fight night I looked up. There's a fight night. Did you want to talk about that, Lawrence? I think Saturday is a fight night, right?
Oh, I think there was almost a goal. I can hear them screaming upstairs about a goal possibility for Brazil. No current idea on that. But the next pay-per-view, I haven't looked too much into it. I did look about it a little bit. I was in favor of Perez in the main event. I mean, those are the small things I looked up. Lucas Almeida, leaning that way just a little bit. And then Watterson. That was another one I would think I was going to go with. I don't know if she's in the fight night or if that was a different one. It might have been a different one.
Might be a different one.
No, Watterson is in 303. Supposed to be. So I was looking at her for that one. Looking like a slight snack. Let me just hop on over here to where I can see this a little better for UFC and give my quick take on it. So for the fight night, yeah, like I said, Lucas Almeida, underdog, like it. Perez, underdog, like it. Some kind of juicy, hopefully, locks. I mean, I kind of would take. It's kind of been proven that guys and women who haven't fought much in the UFC kind of have bad outings when they first get in there. And Fernandez, the women's flyweight fight and the prelims against Judice, whatever you want to call it. I would take probably Fernandez. We've seen plenty of times over when people have 3-1 records like she does, and they get the big jump up to the top. It doesn't ever really turn out like you kind of want it to. I mean, that's kind of all I got. This fight card is actually full of names who I don't have much familiarity with. I will say it's probably one of the more least exciting fight nights in a while, because that main event isn't even that of attractive of a draw.
Nice. I think there's still a little controversy with 303. I think I sent you something yesterday where the UFC they're sending feelers out again to replace the main card. They still won't say why, whether it's McGregor has an injury or Chandler, but 303 is looking like it's in limbo again.
Well, I just think it's weird because the card isn't really filled, in my opinion. I mean, they still have like up and down on cancellations and time to fill in slots at this point as well.
Yeah, they have. They honestly only have 2.5 weeks, 17 days. We'll see if this happens, or if they'll switch it up a little bit. Yeah, like you said, the fight card is not really filled out too much, so I don't know. It's a little interesting. We'll keep you guys updated about that. But I think that's pretty much everything, right? That's all I got.
Yep, that's all I got for you.
All right, episode 100. We done 100 episodes. Hopefully we got another 100 more, and that's hopefully even more after that. Thank you guys for watching for the past year and a half, and supporting us on YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. So with that being said, I think we'll send this off. We'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully the Mavs tie this thing up so we can have some more finals to talk about. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
one of us.